Welcome everybody back to my channel. My name is Josh Curtis, and today we're going to talk about a hot topic uh, issue that's going around in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, which is that of mid-range. Here we're going to give you kind of a little bit of examples of what is going on with this discussion. Uh, Here's the preamble. A lot of people are complaining about mid-range. They are claiming decks that have multiple engines that can kinda just pivot on the fly, or mid-range decks. And this is going to kind of get my take on it. So, if you like this content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't like it, leave a thumbs down, comment, please subscribe. And if you disagree, let me know in the comments as well. But yeah, let's just get started. So, what is midrange? Midrange is a term from Magic the Gathering to classify decks, archetypes, I should say. In Magic, there are four main archetypes. They don't have the same definition that they are in Yu-Gi-Oh, but there's four main ones, which is aggro, which is sets to set up pressure as fast as possible. Picture like low monsters and like low cost mana monsters and spells that will constantly just chip and chip and chip and make sure that your opponent does not have time to build a board. Then you have control, which sets out to force a grind game, and it tries to win on resources. This, unlike aggro, it sets to make the game as long as possible. Then you have combo, which sets up to try to build a board that is either uh, instantly wins the game by doing these one card infinite mana loops that just kill on the spot, or it makes an unlosable game state where your board is so insurmountable that yes, the game could go out into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 turns, but there is no way you're possibly losing. And then finally, the mid-range deck, which is supposed to have flexibility to either force grind against the faster pace like aggro and combo, or to build pressure against the slower pace like the control, but not really excelling in either. More like is a jack of all trades, master of none kind of approach. Uh, then why that definition doesn't really work? In simple terms, Yu-Gi-Oh is just not Magic the Gathering. There is no such thing as like combo and aggro being different analogies. Like, yes, if you want to get down to the brass tacks, you can say that there is, but they're just not analogous. For the game of Magic the Gathering, they have a mana pool, which is dictated by how fast or slow a game can progress. If you are playing one of the combo or aggro decks, you are running with a lot of low cost mana to kind of build upon that. So turn 1, turn 2, you can constantly play. And slow play does the same thing, but has your big bosses be the higher powered mana, while the low powered is interruptions to kind of interact. The reason why it doesn't it's not analogous is Yu-Gi-Oh has no mana pool. You are allowed to play a card as long as the card game says you can play the card. As long as there's no locks, as long as there's no reason in gameplay mechanics say that you can't play it, you're able to fart out whatever you want. So I believe we need to come up with some new terminology or new definitions of the terminology. So here's three basic ones. I didn't want to go in too in depth here. I don't want to make this to be a 3-hour long video. So we have combo, control, and mid-range. Obviously, in the combo, there is a whole set of sub, control, sub, and mid-range sub archetypes. So let's look at combo. Combo is a deck that can pretty much play through any meaningful interaction. Say an Ash Blossom, Imperm, effect failures. They can kind of go through that. So you need to have multiple ways of interacting with them to stop them. They try to build a board that's virtually unoutable. And in other words, their deck is just gas on gas on gas on gas on gas. Uh, Picture something like full powered Snake Eyes during that format. You would end on Barone, Savage, Apple, Flameburst Dragon, and IP in the back row. And then once those all got banned and we got Fiendsmith, a Caesar and Desiree started making its way to the end boards. Just basically an unoutable, an unwinnable situation for your opponent. You just look at them and say, I win. In Control, it tries to limit the amount of plays. So it's either a bunch of hand traps, or just if they go first, which generally Control decks really want to go first, they set up these lingering effects. It's basically like pouring water onto a fire. If they're going second, that's what they're attempting to do. And if they're going first, it's trying to wet the entire ground around it so the fire doesn't spread and come out of control. Picture Flu, a deck that aims to set up at its full powered height, set up barrier the wind statue barrier to just say, hey, nobody can special summon. Hey, I'm normal summoning all the time, so you can't even stop me from special summoning. So I get around a lot of locks, and I just set up this board that you can't interact with, and basically your cards, all your gold cards become ash, and all their ash becomes gold. It's kind of the mindset of a control deck. Then we have this new definition of mid-range. This is a deck that can play fast or slow, depending on who's playing it and who builds it. It can combo off, setting up a board that rivals combo. They could set up a board that is Barone, Savage, IP. They can do all of that. Or if you build it or play it that way, or they could set up a board that just kind of ends on meaningful interactions. Where at any given point they could take away a card of yours and see if that stops you. The most like uh mid-range deck that I think of is Labyrinth. Uh it could either full combo off using its entire extra deck as resources, or it can be control. This picture that I have down here is more control based, but like you could end on Barone, you can end on Savage, you could end here in more control oriented with simultaneous equation cannon, and your extra deck is a toolbox to facilitate any number of levels to counter that, having pops and all of that. That's kind of the new definitions that I think we need to go for. What you're wrong about is that mid-range, you're claiming that are a pile of pile of engines that either have loose synergy with one another or one card starters that just constantly eat up interactions until your opponent runs out. Those are what is mostly being talked about when it comes to mid-range. Decks like the Haram deck, that's the 60 card Rolad Mitsu Azamina adventure hands deck. It kind of plays through whatever. It's gas on gas on gas, which if we go back to the definitions, gas on gas on gas, well, that's a combo deck. It's not mid-range. Mid-range inherently has breaks. There's stopgaps in the gameplay, where one card doesn't necessarily get you 7 other cards, and it doesn't necessarily play through with so many hand traps. It kind of works a little bit more in the Magic the Gathering sense of that, where it's a jack of all trades deck with masters of none. A meaningful interaction could stop the mid-range deck, but if you don't know what to hit, well, and depending on how they build, that meaningful interaction doesn't do as much as it should. If you want to look at a mid-range deck that is also playing Rolad, you should look at my friend's Patrick's deck list for his Rolad Mitsu Sacred Beast that is coming, I believe, by the time I upload this video tomorrow on the Team Evo Yu-Gi-Oh channel. That's a mid-range deck. It's not combo. It sets up a board. It can be very aggressive or it can be very defensive. It can play in a grind game or it can play very fast. But there is problems with it. Major glaring issues. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of changing the definitions and reorganizing them. Saying, hey, I hate all of these mid-range decks, and saying 60 card pile of engines is mid-range is just technically wrong. Mid-range, it doesn't try to uh, speed up the game against controls, and it doesn't try to slow down the game against combo. They are just a combo deck, where mid-range tries to do that slow down, speed up, depending. Uh, so yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and again, if you disagree with my takes, or agree with them, let me know in the comments down below. Let me put my hands in the screen down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and if you have any other like suggestions of videos that you would want to see, leave them down in the comments below as well. But as always, peace and chicken grease.